Well, besties, it's a good thing we don't do live radio because I think we would be a hot mess. I'm already having so much fun with this guest I have joining me. I know y'all have heard of him. You have, and I should have double checked the pronunciation of your last name. So I'm just gonna first, before I completely embarrass myself, say if you aren't following at Georgio Says, what are you doing? You absolutely need to follow him on TikTok, on Instagram. His content. I just, before I even let him speak, I just have to say, if you think it's regular Bravo content, y'all, this man called around Atlanta when Kim Zolciak's house was in foreclosure to get the tea on it. I would have been shitting bricks calling these people. I would have been like, hi, I have no reason to be calling you for any purpose, but do you know Kim Zolciak? It's funny. So I would have been shitting myself. Y'all, it's Georgio joining me from at Georgio Says. Thank you for joining today.
Caitlin, thank you. This has already been fun. Like, I feel like we've been partying for an hour before we even did this. So thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Yes. I'm so glad you're here. And it's always a party when I have time to get myself some Starbucks. This, if you haven't tried, I said this on another podcast, it's my current hyperfixation drink. It's the iced peach green tea lemonade. I still can't, I get nervous when I have to order it because I forget the name every time. It is a problem, but it is hyping me the fuck up today.
Oh, I need to try that because, I'm a big Arnold Palmer person in the summer.
You would love it.
And that sounds right up my alley. So
it is. And the calorie count is low. Not that we're, going to stress about that, but still, it's the best. Anyway, so again, you can find Georgio. It's at Georgio Says, and he has a podcast himself. I mean, my God, it's just, I'm so glad to have you on. I've been really excited. My friend Jessie Nails connected us, and it's just like a beautiful Bravo community. The besties by Bravo, right?
It is. No, it really is a great community. I mean, it's very
has its moments.
Yeah. Depending on the franchise and the show. Other than that,
like, you cannot even get started like New Jersey if.
Can I just tell you that I had a sponsored post, okay, and so the tray stands noticed that. And they reported it, and within 5 minutes, right? Because I don't know if you ever had to do an ad, you have to like give the code to the brand once it's posted, because then they might want to throw some money at whatever. So
they want to see how many sales. Yeah, totally.
5 minutes into it, brand's like, I see it, all good, yay. Go back into the app 5 minutes later. TikTok was like, your ad basically like goes against our community guidelines. Like people reported it. And then I searched that in TikTok, and apparently people that are angry with creators can go in, not only with just paid ones, they can go into any of your stuff and say, she's not saying it's paid advertisement, and it is, and it's not. You're talking about Scandival or something. And it's like nothing to do. So I learned this from an inside source in New Jersey. And I was like, but there's nothing you can do. So
they need to work on that, because I have seen, way back when I was in the like meme creating game, one of my friends is crazy bitch probs. I'm sure y'all heard of her account. The number of times people would report her for copyright because for no good reason, and she would get her like with millions of followers shut down. It's such bullshit. They need to look into it. Copyright is the one thing that they like can and will shut you down immediately. So God, I'm gonna knock on some wood here. I'm surprised I've escaped it so far, because I've had some pretty intense feelings on.
Well, you know what? I think people are looking sometimes. Well, I don't know why. People always come to my page in these like New Jersey is a very good example, where it's like, what side are you on? For life.
So divisive.
For life.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not for life.
And I'm like, what?
I'm telling you.
I'm not doing this culty stuff.
It doesn't work that way, especially with New Jersey. It's like this season has not been, it's not hitting the way I wanted it to, but like, let me tell you, I used to be so anti-Teresa and just gung-ho for the Gorgas, and now I'm like, the Gorgas are kind of like not they're not on the up and up, obviously. But I'm also still like, Teresa can be a garbage human sometimes. So it's so divisive that it's like, y'all, it's not black and white.
No,
It's
and
too nuanced.
it's first of all, I just from the cultural point of view, I think what a lot of the viewers may not get is when we start diving into the intricate parts of things like, well, if Teresa doesn't want to put Melissa in her wedding, it's her wedding. And it's like, yes, if this was a normal suburb in, let's say, Oklahoma, shout out
Hey,
to
that's where I'm
Oklahoma.
from.
I have a lot of friends out there.
No way,
But
I'm from
it would
Oklahoma
be,
originally.
but to be honest, it would be a different situation. No one would be that mad if this was a different setting. But because they're Italians, it's so embedded, it's so important. And I'm Greek, so I get it. Like our family, I see a lot of my family dynamics
It's
in
similar.
what they do. And when people say it's the same thing over and over and over, it's because of the stubborn nature of our cultures. No one wants to admit fault. So they will continue to gaslight each other for decades. Clearly, we're seeing it play out on TV. So, but people that are like Teresa stans are just like,
Crazy.
they're borderline blood sacrificing. When I'm on Twitter sometimes, I don't
Oh,
go on
Twitter.
Twitter first thing in the morning. I stopped doing that. It's too traumatizing
It
because they are
is.
so way out there with like the stuff they pull on some of these other cast members. Where are you getting this stuff?
Yeah, like where they were. Did you see that someone was looking up Antonia's cheer schedule to
I
see
t-
if she was actually out of town for who it was was it Melania's Sweet 16?
I
And
think
it's
so.
like y'all are out of your goddamn minds. Listen, and we are the people who we realize we're the people who will sit here for hours on end talking about this shit. But we are not going to go look. That is in a level of unhinged. Like y'all gotta take a look for a second. This is just not okay.
If I'm going to be honest, I think it's really a little creepy that someone's looking up a child's cheering activity schedule in the first place. So I know that that may not have crossed anyone's mind, but that's the first thing that I thought of. Like, why are you looking up? What does she have
Exactly.
to do with this?
And
You know what
she's
I'm
not really on the
saying?
show that much either. Like that's the difference between the Gorga girls, or Gorga, yeah, girls. Well, some people might, but that's the difference between the Judice girls and the Gorga kids is that you don't see the Gorga kids as much, and so there must be a reason for that. If the Judice girls want to participate and be a part of it, especially if they're 18 and over, that's one thing. But like Antonia doesn't talk on this show. She doesn't have a confessional. She doesn't do any of that. So that's like, leave her alone. If she doesn't want to be a part of it, then I say like that's their business, But yeah, it is creepy as fuck that someone like who in their right, they're not in their right mind. That's what it comes down to. If you want to know the truth.
Yeah, let's stick to the cast. I'm very much about keep it with the ladies.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to go look up Melissa's auntie and be like, ooh, look what I found in 2009 on her Facebook. You know what I'm saying? But that's what the level of like,
Unhinged.
you guys need to relax. Like,
It's true. It's true. And that's the thing is it's like, yes, when I first started the Bravo account myself, I was like talking to some other people, have their Bravo accounts and they were like, oh yeah, Bravo fans can be a little much. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Oh my God. It's like why am I arguing with someone over some of this shit? I'm like, I gotta go to bed. I gotta put your phone down, Caitlin.
I don't argue with them in they really try sometimes to give me these
Yes.
like essays of why I should be team Teresa. And I'm like, I don't need that. I'm sticking to this current season. I'm also I can see that there's truth in the middle of both of their truths.
1,000%. 1,000%. Like, and clearly something's going on over at Bravo with Melissa and Andy and all of that. Like, I don't think she's getting the Angel edit because we saw how her Watch What Happens Live was. That was a train wreck. But what was more entertaining was James's Watch What Happens Live. Did you see that?
Oh my God. Let me explain something. I did not like this guy or this kid, let me say. When he first came on the show, I was like, oh, he's so thirsty. He's just annoying and he's just go away, right? This
Yes.
season, specifically after Scandival broke, I was like, If I was not in a relationship of 10 years right now, I would fly my ass to the next see you next Tuesday and have one of my friends bring me and introduce, because he's just glowing. That is priceless TV. Even
Oh
Andy's
my God.
face was like, he ate every second of that up, and it was perfection.
Yes.
And Tinks was even mind blown. It was just like, just watching him just go on that one rant. Do you remember that one rant where it was like, "Where's
Yes.
this landing, James?" And he was
Yeah,
just like,
I mean, it's like, and I think he's sober too, is the thing. He must have stopped drinking because also like his mom was there with him. So, I also think that now this is my pure speculation, y'all. Nothing is confirmed, but we keep hearing that like he and Allie are probably engaged. And I would imagine that if they are, I think it would have been one of two things, that he would have wanted to bring Allie on to make that announcement, or they're wanting to wait for some like specific reason, and that's why his mother went. Or it also could have been that his mom was there to help keep him sober because he was doing shots of water. So, God, but yeah, I've been trying to take a good long look in the mirror as to why I am suddenly like, why am I attracted to James Kennedy?
I think everyone is. Everyone on my Instagram feed was like very much on the same page. It's like the
Yes.
collective woke up and was like, "Yeah, James can get it." You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's not my type, but it's
Mine
just
either.
the
Yeah.
personality and the way he's just
It's hitting.
it's just the one liner, like when he clarified about the drink in Schwartz's face. He was like, "I mean, I was a gentleman, I poured most of it out." It was just like, oh my God.
Like, I mean,
What?
he is so funny. He can be-
Hilarious.
I wish he would quit with like the body shaming. Like, that is so, I'm over it. You can come up with
I
much
feel
better
like
stuff.
Allie's been a good, from what I've seen, she's been a very good, I don't want to say influence, but almost like a mirror to why he shouldn't do those things, because she doesn't, I think she comes at it with him from a different way. It's almost like she's disappointed and she removes herself completely to let him
Right.
know, like,
Yeah.
not okay,
Not-
dude. But
It's not that vacant. The difference between Allie and when Rachel would get onto him, Rachel would just stare with those dead eyes, like she just like wouldn't blink, and it's like her eyes were crying for help from somewhere.
But you would
deep in
tell her
soul.
something horrific, though.
Yeah.
And she would still be like,
Blink, blink.
and then she would malfunction and then go into her interview segment, because that's the only way we can get anything out of her at that point. Now it's like, oh gosh.
Let me tell you something. That it's still. I was talking with my friends this week in a group chat about it. It still blows my mind that Rachel was ever in pageants. I used to do pageants myself. I actually competed in the same system that she did, but it was in Oklahoma. And what's so, I'm going to say fascinating to me, is that there are 3 parts in the USA Universe system that you were judged on. And I've gone over this in the podcast before, so bear with me, friends. But it's immediately in prelims, you're judged on swimsuit the first time the judges meet you. Then you're judged on evening gown. Then the next morning, you go and do your interview section. That's the interview competition. The interview is like, they will ask you questions that are supposed to be really difficult to answer, like almost trick questions to see how you work on your feet. I mean, I had some of the weirdest questions asked to me. Like, I don't know, in Oklahoma, it was, they drew out a picture of Oklahoma for every contestant that came through. This judge did. I want you to draw out your county and show me on the map that you live in. Like weird stuff. Like, what do you see when you look in the mirror? I'm telling you, can you imagine Rachel having to answer even just those like type of questions, and the amount of short circuiting that would have happened immediately? There's a reason why she never made top 5. I'm going to tell you because she can't.
Did you see that? Did you see those Instagram stories from when Sandoval was filming her on the surfboard?
Yes, so I can tell you what that actually was. There is no talent competition in the USA Universe system. As a joke, I used to always be like, oh yeah, we don't have talent. And because there was no talent competition, that's in the America system. So what that actually was a prop for her swimsuit competition. I could tell immediately from looking at it. And the problem with a prop like that, they make every single one of the girls walk out with it. There are the dumbasses like Rachel that will be like, oh, let me jump on it. I'll be different and cute. Like I had a pair of sunglasses. I had to walk around with a parasol umbrella. It's like so bizarre. I know.
Why though?
I don't know. Why, if you're supposed to be showing off your body, why would you hand these like frail looking women a giant surfboard to walk around on stage?
But I've just wish there was context behind it, because the whole internet thinks that was her talent segment. But thank you for clarifying.
Honest to God.
Like, please God, I hope not. That was not the case, because everyone clapped, and that was just like, come on.
I wish it were her talent. If that were the talent competition, I would have eaten that up 5 times more than everything. Oh man, sorry. Well, speaking of the sophistication of these Pump Rules people, Lala, Ariana, and LVP are all going to the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Yes, I'm reminiscing back. So I live near DC. I live like 5 minutes outside of DC,
Oh,
and
Potomac
so
area?
no, but about 20 minutes away, and then I think another 45 from the Dixons.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so when I found that out, I was like, wow, this is like almost full circle. There's actual Bravo people actually being invited versus Real Housewives of DC, Mikhail. Shout out to Mikhail Salahi. She's not a Salahi anymore, but she crashed that dinner, and thank God she did, because that was the only storyline they had. So they stretched that shit out like
Sure did.
4 episodes.
Does that not seem like a lifetime ago?
It does. I went to the premiere party, and they all told me that they were like, they didn't even know what they were getting themselves into. And I was like, oh boy.
Honestly, that kind of... I feel like that's how the Salt Lake City girls are feeling a little bit themselves. Like they don't even know what they're getting into either. I'm a little nervous about that franchise. No,
It's been I don't know.
It's like it was our shining star, and I'm terrified both. Now, we love Vanderpump Rules, but I'm terrified that the same treatment that happened with Salt Lake, where we had, that season where they were on their way here to Colorado to go to Vail, and Jen Shaw gets arrested, and that was like the most explosive thing we'd had happen on really Bravo since, God knows when. And then after the season, it's just down. Like the biggest thing we had was this black eye, and then I'm terrified of what's going to happen with Vanderpump Rules after Scandal. Like where do you go from here?
I think this has really kind of, I don't know. I don't know though. After watching last night, was it last night? No, the night before.
Wednesday, feels like.
Watching this week's episode, it's starting to feel like, I'm not saying that this didn't get exposed when it got exposed, but I'm starting to question, did production have all this info? Because the reason why I say that is, I don't know if you recall, but Sheena's wedding dress designers discussed how they saw them making out, right? But they didn't think anything of it because they didn't know the other Tom from the other Tom, so they didn't know who was who. But if those guys just so happened to get off an elevator and catch them, how is it that production did not catch things along the way? But I'm starting to see that they almost want to finish the story, and they couldn't get it exposed by the end of, I don't know, it just seems like someone, I'm not saying all production, but someone had to know and was trying to put breadcrumbs out.
Yeah, it does, because that's kind of like a resounding theme happening across social media right now is like, did they actually know this whole time, and were they just trying to make us believe that it was not known at all? And so and then everyone's saying, well, then why did the cast act like it was so shocking and like they couldn't believe it? Well, I think my guess is that they had been basically gaslit by the two of them for so intensely, and everyone had been defending them, that everyone that was on their side to begin with, that once it actually was true, then they were like, God damn it, because we saw our preview for next week, and I had just seen someone had posted it on social media, like that full clip of Lala doing the voiceover, and talking about how it was that Rachel stayed the night at Tom Sandoval's. Like, we see Ken telling Lisa and Katie at their house, and so then we see all of that. But then this extra, I don't know if you saw it yet, because I think it just came out, where Rachel shows up to work an hour and a half late because Lisa was doing the tasting, and Lisa's like, where were you? And she's like, you stayed over there. And Raquel uses this thing where she says, Schwartz was in the hot tub too. We got in the hot tub. And yeah, I just overslept. And Lisa is like, no, I'm going to call the Toms. And so she calls them. And they both like have this shit-eating grin on their face because they know they both are lying through their teeth about what actually happened the night before. I doubt Schwartz was even staying at Sandoval and Ariana's house when Raquel was there too.
I'm with you on that, because that is what I'm talking about. This is when I saw that clip, when Ken came out with that smirk, like he had just been fed that information to go say in front of the cameras. Like, they're like, hey, Ken, go in the kitchen and tell Lisa something she already knows.
Yeah.
Or Lisa told him, Ken.
Well, I could see that.
And so he comes in, he's got that smirk. Hey, what's this Raquel staying all night at Tom Sandoval's? And Katie's painting the bread, and she's like, what? So she is a whore? She's a whore.
Fucking hoe.
Do you remember that back and forth between her and Lisa, and when they were sitting in the new sandwich shop, and Lisa was like, she's not a whore, and she's like, she's a whore.
She's a whore.
Went back and forth like twice.
And I mean, listen, kudos to Katie for standing up to if Lisa told me she's not a whore, okay, fine, she's not a whore.
Absolutely. You see all Ariana, she was ready to jump in, defend Raquel. That's the thing. I think those moments really get under my skin.
It's sick.
When I catch the Ariana just there and just like, because she's so confident and so good in her skin, like she isn't that girl that's like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? So that's even more maddening, because it's like, oh my gosh, like,
yeah,
of
what?
All the
people, and then to go on more about that preview, when we see Tom Schwartz say, when they're at the glamping thing, I don't know if it was supposed to be Rachel's birthday or not. I can't really remember specifically why they were going. And he goes, Raquel has a type. He said, so Brock, Tom, and I can't remember who else he said, watch out. And they were like, oh, what's her type? And he said, taken.
Mm-hmm. Because he knows.
So with that, this is where I'm getting, everyone is saying different things. And here's my thing too, is that I don't listen to any other podcasts or anything as much as I possibly can before I record, because I want my thoughts to be purely my own. You know how hard that can be.
Yes.
But every podcast up until now I have heard was that Schwartz did not know at this, what would have been this point, when they're standing outside of the food trucks talking. My understanding was that he did. He said that he knew about an alleged, quote, one-night stand at the end of August. Well, Sheena's wedding was at the end of August. It was like, what, the 25th, 23rd, something like that. Mm-hmm. So how many more days were left in August for you to find out about this one-night stand that was, oh, sorry, what Sandoval said was just a kiss at that point.
Well, also, that is interesting, because also Schwartz let us know that he found out before he had kissed Raquel in Mexico that they had hooked up already. This whole food truck filler scene that you fluffed in there with this conversation about how, again, this is where my blood starts to boil, because if you notice, they are being super narcissistic with trying to place blame on Ariana.
Yes.
And I think it's just telling of the type of guys these two are.
I mean,
And more about that when we get to the part between Lala and Schwartz, because I have a
my
lot
God.
to say about that.
So do I. And you know what? Ooh, okay. So you are one of my rare, from what I understand, Katie stands as for the most part. Like I have been on the receiving end. Like all of my friends, everyone are always like, "Why do you like Katie so much?" I'm like, I get her. I have gotten her from the beginning, and Schwartz is an emotionally abusive partner, and I have made 2 videos on this on TikTok, and the one I made yesterday, it no one was looking at it. Then suddenly I look down and it's, you know how it goes with TikTok. So anyway, I'll touch on that, what I really noticed with him. But yes, the way you see Schwartz and Sandoval painting Ariana in this light of, well, I make her a dumpling latte every morning. Does she reciprocate that for you, buddy? Exactly? Who gives a flying fuck? I don't need a fucking latte. I need you to not go fuck my best friend. Excuse me.
Right. Or is that the consequence for not making your stupid double latte?
Go to Starbucks. You know what? There are plenty of fantastic coffee places in Los Angeles. Sandoval. See, this is when the more heated I get, the more I mix up their names, and then I start sounding like an idiot.
They're kind of one and the same.
Yeah, they're one of those like organisms that are, yeah, I know exactly. It was just repugnant what they were trying to do with this and paint Tom Sandoval as the victim, like who makes these lattes for his poor baby dumpling every morning.
Well, I think it's really a manipulative tactic on Sandoval's part because he's not only manipulating his friends, he's basically told essentially Raquel how to play this whole move.
Oh yeah,
because don't you think it's a little interesting that Tom's bringing this information that Katie called Raquel, or Rachel, as I like to call her, and get blasted for it, about how Katie said she was a whore in the first place?
And did you notice the way he told her? It was in this way that it was like, yeah, she called you a little fucking whore. It was like almost sexual the way, and it was just disgusting.
And the way he looked at her when she walked away, and Lisa and she called, she's like, what was that? What are you doing? So that's why I'm starting to I'm not saying people can't be suspicious. Obviously you can and still be wrong.
Right.
But in this situation, it's starting to feel like there's a lot of really solid nuggets to start questioning folks.
There is, and that's the thing too, is you have to wonder, production, and this is what's interesting too. I found it very almost Easter egg like that Lala had posted a conversation she had with one of the audio guys. It was like a BTS moment. And she said, "Oh, wow, I didn't realize you guys can hear us all the time." And he said, "Yes, from the moment you're mic'd, we hear everything." I think we're going to have a moment later on where it's like, yes, we heard things, but what can we do? Like, I think, yes, production is going to kind of, it would be, I think, interesting and make the reunion even more, I don't know, rich if they were to bring in some of our behind the scenes guys, because they've just started doing that by posting this stuff on social media, showing their producers who they're actually talking to in confessional. And that would have been a great setup for them bringing out 1 or 2 of them, maybe 3 of them for the reunion for a minute, for everyone to be like, look, I could see Andy saying, here's the elephant in the room. Did production know? What do you guys want to tell us about that? And that would be, I would love, or bring him on your radio show, Andy. Do something. We need more. Somehow we still need more.
Well, I think too, with this reunion, the way that they're maximizing on it is, I think they're trying something new where they're going to do extended cuts for Peacock.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I think more reunions need to change up the formatting. I think people are sick of this, like, I'm fine with the sit down, but let's structure it differently, because I feel like we need to sometimes I feel like we watch a reunion and they don't cover what everyone's been discussing on social media the entirety of the season. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? And you're like, wait, did you just cut that out?
Because they do the reunion too soon when like everyone has not seen everything yet. And that's one of the problems, is like they need to like hold off on the reunion and then take a second before picking up the cameras again. And I know it's easy for me to say, and I know the scheduling, because then we're all, if a trailer is late, we're all like, well, where the fuck is the Orange County trailer? And So I get it. Like it's nobody's happy, right? But at the same time, it's they're the experts at this. Let's maybe work that out a little bit and give the audience a little bit more episodes so we can ask the right questions when you ask us to tweet at you.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
that's been an ongoing issue I've noticed.
Well, and I get that they want to stick to a certain narrative per the storyline, and so not everything can go in there. But in this situation, you guys did have a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's clear because you guys filmed that scene from this week's episode where you guys are talking about seeing Sandoval and Raquel at the Abbey, and then you have this conversation between Allie and Sheena again, with Sheena, who's probably like putting her foot in her mouth, watching herself say like, "Yeah, I mean, I would trust them in bed together."
Oh my God, you
It's
would
like,
absolutely.
I don't care who. I'm just gonna say this right now. I don't care how good of a friend you are. If you're not getting in bed with my no.
No.
There never should be a moment or ever a situation where that's just like, oh, they just fell asleep.
Oh, yeah. I'll
Like,
tell
come
you.
on, guys.
I'm gonna put you on a permanent sleep. You do something like that.
So,
I mean,
no, yeah.
and that was the thing too with this scene. I would like to know your thoughts on Allie. I'm quite impressed with her. She is brave as hell. I would have been. I like to think I'm tougher than this, but I know myself. If I were sitting there and I'm like, well, you know, I'm telling Sheena, and Sheena's really coming down kind of hard. I don't think Sheena was being mean or anything, but she was like, absolutely not. Like, I've known that these are my two best friends. I could be out with Sandoval at 2 o'clock in the morning and dance with him all I wanted. And I would have been like, okay, well, maybe I saw nothing. I don't know. Like,
No, you know, I think for her, so I think she comes off like she's very bashful and like whatever. And so I think a lot of people, but you know, this isn't her first reality TV show that she's done. So she's very much trying to get in there and play ball. I think she's just trying not to make sure she looks thirsty doing it. So what I think happened in this situation is I think someone gave her a nugget, and James in scene helped her strategize that. Because in the moment, I think she said, should I talk to her, like, or was it Ariana, I think, initially? And he said, no, tell Sheena, because Sheena's close to her and she'll love the gossip.
I mean,
basically, like, you can get in there, but let Sheena take the fall because she's the one who opened her mouth about it. Let her do it.
That's so true. Because that is true. Sheena would immediately, that's Sheena. Even if she's not good friends with someone, she's going to go immediately and be like, well, guess what I heard? And that's immediately what's going to happen. And, you know, James is the one who planted the seed of what the rules meaning open relationship thing. I can now, when Katie explained it in confessional, I totally get that she was saying, well, no, they don't have like rules like that. Like you can't go out and be out with friends late at night because Ariana trusted him.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean...
I'm about to freeze my eggs with your sperm that you call jizz.
Oh my God. Listen, I watched that with my mother and my mom goes, what did he say? I was like, nothing.
Can we just please remind everyone that he is 40 years old, okay? 40. I know sometimes we get confused because it's Vanderpump Rules and you still think everyone's in their 20s. They're not. So we don't walk around saying jizz at the doctor's office when we're checking in. That's what we don't do.
I'm here to get the results from my deposit, and then
sperm. Call it what it actually is.
Yes.
It's okay.
Oh my God. And then I nearly fell over laughing when the doctors, when immediately they're talking about like the morphology, which did I ever think I would be sitting here talking about the shape of sperm? No, I did not. But alas, here we are. Highbrow content here, friends. But when the doctor, immediately Sandoval's like, well, could stress be adding to that? And the doctor's like, yeah, alcohol, drugs, and tight clothing. And the way he looked at it, I was like, basically, Sandoval, just take off your entire skin suit and be a new person.
Go live in the desert naked.
Like,
just for like 3 months and then come back.
That cracked me up. I was just like, dude, yeah, no way. Um, but yeah, and then also this whole thing with Sheena going. Sorry, I just lost track here for a second. Um, it's interesting because to me, Sheena actually is a wonderful friend to her friends. I think.
I would say so. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And I think she is underrated as a friend to people, and I think Lala is also underrated for the type of friend she is to her friends. And again, it just, oh God,
Let
that
me,
scene.
you know, I give a lot of credit to Lala. I really do.
Yep.
And I will always say this about her. Initially, when she came on the show, she was just another thirsty girl at the hostess stand waiting to be on the show. But she'll say that. She'll
Exactly.
admit to that. And she's owned
Yes.
all of her crap. And I will say my turning point with Lala started when she lost her dad. I
Mm,
really started to build a lot more compassion for the character. I don't want to say her because we're not seeing the full Lala, right? But I
correct.
will say the character that was being shown on TV, I started to empathize with
Yeah.
greatly because it's like that shifts your whole universe and you're filming this.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So I say all that to say this whole Randall situation, I feel like she still takes a beating for, like in terms
Mm-hmm.
of being the original mistress in this, whatever.
Yeah.
But to be fair to her, she was young,
Yes.
impressionable, and
Yep.
she, what young girl in her shoes in Los Angeles would not have taken up Randall on that offer? I'm not saying all of them would have, but I'm saying the types that were in that space that were looking to get on, if you will.
And
So,
I totally agree. And you took the words out of my mouth because I spent the last, not last 10 years, but I was in Los Angeles for 10 years, moved during the pandemic. And I was trying to do my best to be a working actor. And Lala was working as an actress as well. And if you have someone who is an actual producer who is saying, like, look, here, I can get you in this shit. And if she actually was interested in him in that way at all, and it wouldn't be like a disgusting thing to you, then I mean, and he's telling you from everything we know, he told her he was single, he wasn't in a relationship, what have you, or that at the very least he was saying he was separated from his wife, all of that. Now, me, at, at in my 30s, a man says that to me, I'm gonna be like, okay, let me talk to her then. If I'm suspicious, I'm gonna ask
oh,
her.
1000%. Or you
She's in her
go on
20s.
Instagram and you're like DMing her, hey,
1000%.
how's that divorce going, girl?
Yeah.
Oh, you're not? Oh, thanks.
Exactly. You okay, hun?
Do you want to
Like
give me a quick
absolutely.
call?
And Lala, uh, once she got sober, I think she's one of those rare entities on Bravo that sobriety honestly like made her even better for the show. And I hate saying it this way, but we've seen this happen with housewives, and everyone just goes. They don't want them on the show anymore, even though the entire time before that everyone would be going, well, they have an alcohol problem, they need to work on that, whatever. And then as soon as they would fix that, they'd be like, oh, we hate them now. And that's where we would see, I noticed that there would be a lot of that turning point on Luann. There'd be a lot of that turning point, well, Bronwyn, that's a whole other species, but um but she and James really are the two that like they they are even better versions of themselves for reality television, not just
Hmm.
in their own lives that we don't know about. And I my respect for Lala has gone up quite a bit, and I think things have drastically changed for her with this Randall situation, to where it's she sees things in such a different light now, I think,
Yeah.
and I think she's just a different person.
Well, I think motherhood changed her. I think being a mother in the midst of dealing with what she was dealing with, because I mean, I think people forget she had just had her baby
Yeah,
when she took off to the, what was it, the Beverly?
yeah.
Yeah, so it was just like she literally had an infant, guys. Like,
I
come on.
That
Like,
probably wasn't sleeping through the night yet,
she's never been a
which is
mom
hell.
before. She didn't know that this was all going to break and stuff. So
Hmm.
imagine from her perspective, I mean, she's still young.
Yes.
So yeah, she's got a great thing going. Thank God she can manage herself and do well. But yes, I agree with you. I think what it does, I think for Lala is she can't feed herself the alcohol. So what she does is she analyzes the issue to the point where she can come up with a reasonable explanation as to where it's coming from, because this is what sobriety does to you. You can either become uber analytical and be self-aware and spiritually like open, or you stop just the substance itself and you keep trying to direct or project your issues that you were trying to numb with the substance onto other people.
Exactly.
In my
You're looking for
opinion,
that
that's
dopamine hit.
Sandoval. I think Sandoval would do well if he sobered up or did. And I don't like to like tell people like sober up and then say like you can't do anything, because I'm not in that space. So I don't understand how that works and how things trigger. But it seems like Sandoval, based on what we've seen this week, he drinks a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And actually the week before, because Ariana was having this conversation with him about taking a cleanse from drinking, because you don't need to drink every time you get upset or stressed or find a reason basically to crack open a drink.
Taking shots. That
Which
is
hardcore. That's not like a sip of Pinot Grigio, dear.
No.
It's not turtle time at the Sandoval house.
No, that is, shots are aggressive to me. Like, I don't really drink liquor. Like, if I drink, it is wine, because liquor, that shit goes real quick and it hits you before.
Well, so I'm just, because I think back to myself as like certain liquors do different things to me. And so I know my limits, thank God.
Right.
But like I can't drink brown liquors because it makes me, I will fight you.
A lot of
For
people
no
are that way.
reason.
A lot of people.
But margaritas, I'm like 3 of those, I'm good, and I feel like I'm the best thing on the planet.
That's
you
more
know,
like a
and
golden liquid.
Mhm.
or
Yeah,
clear.
something more clear or like lime-ish colored,
Yeah.
yellow. Anything brown, I'm just like, yeah, I'm okay. I can't even sip it.
No, I totally, a lot of people surprisingly are that way. And there's something to be said for that, but I don't think Sandoval really turns down any of that. And I think he's sober right now, last he was saying, but who
For
knows?
now.
So, okay, getting to this beach day, I found it so rich that Raquel says to Allie regarding her relationship with James, "Oh, you're going to learn the lessons you need to learn in your own time, yeah?" And Allie, I bet Allie was like, "Okay."
She kind of did. She was just like, thanks. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this information. You're not my mentor. Do you know what I mean? It's
Can
like
you
weird.
imagine if she was?
I'm sorry. It's weird. And I really, really am loving Allie more and more every episode, or that they show her more, because the interview clip that they show where she was like, you know, in my other friend group, when you broke up with someone, you never talked to them or saw them again. In this friend group, you look around, it's all exes. Like, yeah, that's absolutely a fact.
It is. It is so strange. Like, I don't know. I can't remember an instance where I had a friend group that we hung around everyone's exes, except when I was in high school and there was no one else to hang around. That's
And
it.
they're not really your friends. So you know what I mean? Now, their age, they're in their 30s. The thing, I think, this is why I'm not a Katie stan, but I just appreciate that she's true to herself and she doesn't back down on her feeling. So she was right in this instant. She saw Raquel making her moves, and people, I think, sometimes misconstrue Katie, because I think ultimately Schwartz brought out the worst parts of her.
Yes, he did. And the thing is, like, Schwartz, my brain tends to go toward, like, just from coming from that world of acting and, you know, having to analyze scripts and things like that. Certain characters in a script, where they fit in a world and the things they do and say in a world when they are next to another type of character may look extremely awful, or it may look pretty mild. My best example that I could ever give is, I don't know if you watched Nurse Jackie on Showtime.
Yes.
Edie Falco, loved it. So the reason why you could still somehow constantly forgive the shit that Jackie would do was because the world they placed her in was like, the nurses, everyone was so sweet and fluffy and adorable and just so kind, so that it made even just like mild things Jackie did look like it was really bad in that world. And
Mm-hmm.
so all of that is to say that when Schwartz was next to Katie, because he would pull the whole basset hound puppy dog eyed thing, it would make anything Katie said back to him look terrible. But I've been really stringing together a lot of clips, and I keep telling everybody, listeners, if you follow me on Instagram and you follow me on TikTok, I don't have the same content on both. It's usually different content, so you will get two different things. It's a lot of work, but hey, we do it because we love it, like I've said before. I have noticed, especially once, and I don't want to skip over everything, but once we get to that part where Lala and Schwartz are going at it, Schwartz has a very specific formula. He starts gassing the female up by saying negative things until he figures out what is going to trigger the shit out of her till she breaks and loses it and starts yelling. And once she starts yelling, that's his second step, is where he sits back, kind of chills, and is looking like, gosh, why would you yell at me like that? Wow. And so now I'm justified in saying the most verbally abusive, like low shit I can come up with. And that's when she gets good and irate, and he, right in that whole moment, and as soon as he goes that low, she either shuts down, walks away, and that's when he goes, oh no, wait, come back. Oh. It is
Did I make
so
you upset?
formulaic.
Wait, I made you mad?
God, let's talk.
I do not have room in my mind or have empathy for any guy that strings a woman along, or whoever for that matter, emotionally, to get them riled up and then shut off and then shut them down and then watch them like they're some circus animal freak.
Yep.
And then turn around and say, what's your problem?
The way I just got chills, like I was like...
Because if you've ever experienced someone like that...
Oh, yeah.
It's one thing to just see it on TV, but if you've ever experienced that type of gaslighting and watching that... So when Lala walked away, I was so happy for her because she took back her power. The longer she sat there, he just kept eating.
Exactly.
You're a horrible mom, or you're a good mom. Yeah, you're right. You're a good mom, Lala. Like, no, he's trolling you. Mm-hmm. And she knew it because she's sober. So she knows, she's aware, and she's also self-aware, which is super important in those situations, right? So she knew when to exit. And the thing is too, I think with people like Schwartz and Sandoval, they are also very aware of their public personas. Uh-huh. So they spin things in a very... If you pay attention to how Tom was trying to come at Katie, if you didn't know the context and you just played that clip of him talking, you would be on his side. Because you would be like, you know what, you're right. Schwartz did come out, again, basset hound. Oh, I don't know how we got here, but we did. Oh. And then it's like...
The restaurant's fault.
Then you see Katie with Satchel, and now it's like, oh, she's not allowed to move on with someone outside of this group? She's been respectful. That's why I will side with her here, because I don't think it's unreasonable. Mm-mm. First of all, I wouldn't be in a situation, me personally, where I could be in a friend group where that was even possible for me to have to lay that out. Number one. Number two, if I did and you did that to me on camera, oh, it is over. I don't want nothing to do with you. I don't have to now. We're divorced. We sold the house. I'm good.
Exactly. Because, here's the thing. Is how many people in that group was she just asking him not to hook up with? How many people? Because Sheena's taken. At this point, Ariana's taken. Charlie has a boyfriend. Who am I forgetting? Really, it all came down to Raquel. And Lala wasn't going to hook up with Schwartz.
Please don't sleep with Raquel this season.
Please
don't sleep with Raquel. Schwartz, please do not. I don't care what the producers push on you. Do not do that to us, because if you want to maintain a friendship with me, I cannot be embarrassed like that.
It's simple.
And what did you do? You went and played, and I'm sorry, but I don't believe that Schwartz didn't know from the beginning that they're way too close. There's just no way that you're that, dense that you don't know what's what.
Absolutely.
When you're going on trips with them and you and Joe are having double friend dates or whatever you're doing. It's just ridiculous.
It It is. You know, and going back more on Schwartz when he makes that joke at James. Now, I'm going to say something here. After all these years of Schwartz dumping drinks on women, I felt 0% sorry for him when James threw his drink at him. Now, I don't think that was the moment James needed to do it, but James had bubbled up and was once again showing his hand how much he still cares about everything to do with Rachel.
You know, I think James is at that place where he's almost over his ego, but it's still there.
It's interesting, yeah.
But he's almost there, and he's too witty. He's too smart. He's gonna figure it out. I have faith in him, specifically after seeing this side of him. Mm-hmm. So, but I will say that I think he was triggered by that comment because I think he's also used to being dumbed down into like not being serious, and I think he's starting to get to a place in his DJ career where he's being taken seriously. Like, if you do know Cascade, then you would know that that's a big deal for him to be opening for someone like that. And so I think when Schwartz made that joke, it was obviously a bad joke, but I think ultimately if James was removed from his ego, he would have been like, he wouldn't have reacted like that. He probably would have let it go.
Yeah, because the thing is, if you are confident and you can stand in what you've got going on, and it is that big of a deal, and you know how important it is, you're absolutely right. Like, who gives a shit what Schwartz says about honestly, I thought the whole engagement thing that he did for Raquel was sweet, and I thought it was a great idea, because that was their thing, you know, and this is where, like, if we didn't know what we know, I would have felt really bad for her when he's like, stupid engagement, like going off on it. And she was like, it's not a stupid engagement. And I honestly would have felt so bad for her, you know? It just, but now...
I didn't feel bad for her though, because, and not even because of everything that we know. I just, in the situation isolated, you guys broke up. It was a mistake. In the end, it was an error, my dears. Would you want to keep it as a locked memory of a sweet engagement that went wrong? Like, no, it didn't work out. You tried to solidify somewhat of a friendship, but clearly you guys are not meant to be friends, and that's fine. You guys all don't. There's so many people in Los Angeles.
Oh my God, so many.
So many that want to be on TV.
Yes.
So it's not hard. If you want a man on TV, on screen, love interest, just put out a Facebook ad. Someone will respond to, I promise you.
Absolutely. There are so many people in LA. My God. And, you know, this was the thing too. Oh my God. I'm sort of all over the place. Thank you for your patience with that. When Sheena goes ahead and pulls Sandoval aside. Oh my God. I think we all were just like leaning forward like, are you for fucking real? When immediately, when she tells him about, you know, seeing him at the Abbey and all of that, and the first thing he says is, it's funny you should say that. You can see the hamster on that wheel is huffing and puffing, and you can watch that hamster go, oh, Sheena just said everyone hates Raquel, and that's why they're saying it. And then you just watch it in real time of him go, yeah, it's funny that you should say that. The hate for Raquel. And it took him a second, but that was quick. That was so quick. And it was like, that's what we're going to use. And you just see it.
Well, and also, if you want me to sit there and believe that was the first time Sheena pulled Tom aside was at the beach day, no. You guys knew what you guys were going to discuss. Mm-hmm. And that's why he was able to jump on because he knows Sheena's very much team Raquel, so she's not going to notice if I'm overly like, yeah, they're being mean to her, man.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys need to cut that out, Katie.
Well, and he was
like, what?
The thing is, he's not that good of an actor, clearly, because he's
horrible actor.
He is
horrible actor.
And it was just kind of like, I think, because we know this from how when he tries to lie. I don't know if you've noticed, like, I love looking for the tells now, because if I didn't know, I would be like, what? He just said they never touched. You can literally watch his throat, the way it closes at the top. He can't even fully get the lie out, A, without smiling, B, without his own vocal cords trying to choke him off from saying, no, we've never had anything physical. It's like
The fact that if anyone has to repeat and confirm the allegation, it's already a lie for me. You could have the question, if it was asked to me, I would be like, no.
no.
That's it. Like, no. It's called media training, but also like it's just a no, right? If you didn't do it, but he has to go. If you notice, he kind of was like starting to lean back and keep talking. I'm like, why are you still trying to answer this question so much? Like, that would be really weird if I was Ariana and this didn't come out and I saw this playback. I'd be like,
yeah,
what's going on here, buddy?
yeah. You know, it's because the thing is, like, I was listening to this audiobook and I don't know, it just was interesting how reading body language. And for the most part, people, they work on, when they're going to lie about something, they work on how they're going to say it. They don't work on what their body is going to do. Mm-hmm. And so that's where that smile, it was like, bro, come on. That was like horrible. Oh my God.
Did anything physical happen with you and Raquel? No. No, nothing physical happened between me and Raquel.
That wouldn't happen with me and Katie.
like you know how Katie and I know. Yeah, Katie. Okay.
I mean, I have seen my 6-year-old nephew lie better than that.
I was just going to say children lie way better and they would not go through all that. They would answer with one word. Yes, no, bye.
Exactly. I'm going to go play over here now.
It's got it right. The less is more in these situations, Tom.
Always. But I mean, you know what? He was great at lying about a lot of other things. And just I'm going to wrap up with these last few final thoughts. So I couldn't stop laughing when you just see Satchel and the Don sitting in the middle watching all these arguments at the bar. And I mean, Satchel, like, dude I don't know, unless he took like a gummy beforehand, I would have been on, of course, you know, that's me, but I mean, how does anyone stay that like even?
I make way too many facial expressions. It would have been like, you know what I mean? I would be like, either that or he was on I don't know. He seems very like, I will say, it's not, I will agree with Schwartz. It's not what I expected Katie to go to after. However, I think I can see why he is attractive from the clips and things that we're seeing. He seems very much
independent film actor to me.
Yeah, but he's also very in tune with his feelings, and I think that's what Katie needs right now. She needs that like affirmation and validation that when she says how she feels, someone's there to say, yes, you do.
I'm hearing
and that's okay. And I can hear you. If I have advice, I will share it. You know what I mean? She needs that right now, that kumbaya love.
Yeah.
And then the next guy, she'll probably like be like, all right, I'm done with that.
Yeah, that's totally true, because that's the thing is, like, when you get out of that long-term relationship, like my own divorce was finalized back in February. And so, you know, once you get to a point where you start thinking about that, you're like probably going to go for the exact opposite of what you had before. And then you realize, well, there's a reason why I didn't have that, you know, ever.
That's why I'm going back over here.
Yeah, you find something in the middle. And, you know, the whole thing, we already touched on everything with Sandoval going in on, oh, poor Schwartz, you know, you say that when you talk about your divorce, it's like, it was something I had to do. And Schwartz is like, God, I'm so sad. It happened, but like, dude, really? And then when James gets, I don't know, they said it was Bacardi 151, but then someone said it was actually water.
The waitress, I think, came in, was like, it's just decorative, it's just water. And so they were like laughing at him because he was literally screaming,
Ali! Like, why are you screaming at her?
You know what? Did you catch when Allie was like, yeah, just sit down and shut up?
Yes!
And I was like, oh my God, I love you. You're like quiet and innocent, and then you bite when you need to. So I'm wondering a little bit, where's the spicy side of Allie that we may hopefully see down the line? Because I feel like she's in there.
Because so many of us,
whoa.
I think, Yeah, we were wondering, why is Allie a part of like the cast photo? Why are they including her so much? And now we're seeing like she brings
She's had
something
it.
that, yeah, Rachel wanted to be able to bring what Allie brings, and she couldn't, so that's why she fucked Sandoval. Period.
It's all for clout, honestly, the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's just a ladder move for Raquel.
Mm-hmm. Supposedly, I read that allegedly. I'm sorry, I try to remember to use the word allegedly. They broke up, and Sandoval's acting all sad because she won't talk to him. But I thought she was in a mental facility where she couldn't answer her phone.
Well, that's what Sandoval was screaming about to one of the same two people from Backward that keep following all the Vanderpump Rules people and coincidentally running into them. But he's like out there preaching to this guy about it, like as if like he's like, I don't know. It's just he's so annoying with the explanations. Like even on the Howie Mandel podcast, I was just like, you know what? Why are you doing this?
To look like a victim.
But also, you gave away the entire timeline. Full stop. So how now they're probably in the editor's room of the flippin' reunion show, being like, we got to make sure it lines up with what he's saying because, hi, don't do that, Tom. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Tom, without this show, what do you have?
Well, I think we've not talked about his band that is doing very well.
So well. That band is just award-winning. And my God, I'm devastated. I have never had the opportunity to go see him perform.
You know what, then? Forget it. I will just go and buy, like, costumes and go cover all my favorite pop stars from the early 2000s on tour. And, like, yeah.
I'll play
That's
backup.
not a career, by the way. That's a hobby. You have this restaurant that apparently is in Silver Lake, I guess. And, like, people
Silver
are
Lake poo-poo area is what?
Yeah. That's
I
what
know
they
exactly
said,
where it
area.
is. It's not a bad area.
It's not a bad area, but it's just like, also I think people don't understand that like things can be shot in a way on camera that make things look glamorous, and in real life you're like no offense to Sir, but when the show was on and then when I went, I was like, oh, it looks not as, you know, va-va-voom, you know, but that's how everything looks on TV, I think. Specifically in Los Angeles, Miami. Yeah. New York is the only place that I feel is truly reflected in, like, TV.
Well, because it's New York, and that's just even true to its own nature. Yeah, I mean, like, I wouldn't really call that area Silver Lake. It's not quite Silver Lake. But yeah, it's near the church of one of the Church of Scientology, and over nearby, near like an improv thing, and it's near like a great bar called Birds that it's based off of the Hitchcock movie, and it's just like a cool little bar. It's not a terrible area. Everything's in a strip mall there. The best sushi you will ever have is going to be in a strip mall in LA. You know, the East Coast sushi is better. Let me preface that, but in LA, the best sushi, that's where that is. Don't go to Nobu. Go to a strip mall. Trust me.
I've been told that multiple times by, like, friends of mine that live in Los Angeles. They're like, don't go to the fancy, go to the strip malls. Like, honestly, you'll enjoy it much more.
Much better. Yes. Well, you know, on that note, I think we will be able to wrap here. I've had so much fun chatting with you.
Me too.
Sorry, you're gonna have to come back now. It's just decided.
You're gonna have to come on mine. Well, actually, you know, I'm doing a whole. So you'll need to come on mine. Short answer, and then I want to. Maybe we should like recap the reunion.
Oh my God, yes.
I would love to do that.
Glad to do that because I am going to be sitting there. Glasses, notes as I'm watching.
I think I'm going to need to get like more cue cards because I'm like trying to map out this like timeline, match it up with the episodes as best as I can. You know what I'm saying? But it's like challenging when they throw these other nuggets in here, like Ken coming out next week and saying that. I'm like, what? Ken knows?
And that's the thing too is God bless him, Ken. You're just like, you know that he was just thrilled to just be a part of it.
Yeah. He was as happy as can be. He's like, oh, you need me? Yeah.
Because, you know, for the longest time, he was like, wait, which one's Raquel? Which one? Rachel? Raquel? Which of the Toms?
Katie? Like, in my head, he came out and was like, did you know Sandoval had Katie over all night? Like, not Katie, Ken. Do it again.
Go back to one.
I would die for a blooper reel of the extended, unedited footage, just start to finish. I promise you, I don't care if it's 1,000 hours. I will sit there and watch it.
I will
like
too.
My Ring camera footage, like just looking for anything I can find. I'm dead ass serious because I'm a psychopath.
Oh my God, I'm the same way. It's totally fine.
What's wrong with us?
So much. It's a loaded question.
Wait for the book. We'll figure it out by the time the memoir's out.
You're so right. Please don't let it be Rachel writing the book because it's going to be a picture book.
Oh man, a coloring book. That's not a door.
Can you imagine? Oh, I can't imagine. Yeah. So on that note, friends, thanks for joining. Be sure and go listen to Georgio's podcast. Again, follow him on Instagram, on TikTok, Twitter. We're all still, it's touch and go Twitter, but still go follow him there. Leave a cute review, 4 stars and above, please. And just thanks for joining. And I will see you all soon.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you.